Hey guys, so this one is going to be a little weird. Um, but I just want to say that it's these kind of things that definitely make me believe in the concept of, what's the word? Experiencing the opposite, okay? Experiencing contrasts, and how sometimes when we experience contrasts, we can actually use that to our advantage. This is actually something that's in Christian theology where they say God allows suffering so that we can appreciate the good in life. This is also like a mindfulness type of concept, but it is something that I do relatively believe in, especially when it comes to my experience of last year of essentially destroying my thyroid. And I want to talk to you guys about this, and I want to talk to you about what happened yesterday. So, yesterday I went to the hospital. My grandma was getting a surgery. It was an elective surgery though, so don't worry. But while I was there, I had to get COVID screened, obviously. So what they do, it's pretty simple. They just have you get your temperature taken. And I went to get it checked. You got to put your forehead forward, and you hear it go beep. And for mine, it said 96.8. And I was like, ooh, that's cold. And my mom was like, oh, it's just because we had the air conditioning on in the car. Don't worry about it. And we visited my grandma and everything. But then when we were stepping back out, my mom said, okay, go ahead and check your temperature again and you'll see what it really is. Beep, 96.8. So I'm running cold, okay? And I was kind of shocked because over the past week-ish, I have been coming back to terms with my diet and how it hasn't worked and these whole things. I talked a lot about this about a year ago, but I had a moment where I really wanted to deny the truth, and I just didn't want to accept that I had to change. I thought that I could lose weight being ketogenic, and although I do support ketogenic and most diets really for the short term, I think for the long term it does do damage, and I'm here to explain that, and I'm here to talk to you guys about it. And in this video titled How I Destroyed My Thyroid in 2020. So I've done a lot of research on thyroid health, and there are a couple things that stand out, particularly things that I've done, okay? So we're going to get a little bit sciencey. We're going to get a little bit, into terminologies and different things, but we're going to talk about these things, and I'm going to tell you what's going on. So one of the first things that we're going to be talking about a lot today is, I call it PUFAs. So what are PUFAs? They're called polyunsaturated fatty acids, okay? What that means is it's your basic plant oils, cottonseed oil, canola oil, soybean oil, peanut oil, olive oil, all these kinds of oils, okay? These are all called polyunsaturated fatty acids. And what these do is they have a very anti-thyroid effect. And how I realized this in my own experience, because I was thinking a lot about what this guru, so to speak, was saying about it. And I was like, And it wasn't until I was kind of eating a lot of Peeps and ice cream. My good diet is, my post-keto binge days are, the food of the gods. Plus I just love Peeps because I love Easter candy. It's my favorite candy of the year, just for the record. So Peeps and ice cream, love that. And I was finding my hormones were shifting while I was eating like this. Particularly my testosterone felt like it was higher. How do I know? I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I had a higher libido. And I was feeling good. And I was feeling great until one day, which kick-started this whole thing. Because I was like, why am I feeling great eating ice cream and candy? Why am I feeling better? I was confused. Until one day I had chips. I had nachos. You guys know me. I'm the queen of nachos. You've seen me eat nachos probably so many times. And one of the biggest things is that those chips, they're fried in PUFAs. They're fried in corn oil. Okay? Corn oil slash safflower slash canola. It's usually a combination, but regardless, all three are PUFAs. And what happened is I ate these chips. I had nachos. And within a couple hours, almost instantly, I became incredibly low energy. I blew up like a balloon, okay? And I want you to know, like, I was eating plenty of salt before, so don't say, oh, it's the salt. It's not. I was eating, hamburger patties and putting salt all over them. I was eating rice. I was eating, like, bowls of rice and putting salt on it. During this time, I never blew up like a balloon until that day when I ate those chips. I got so incredibly bloated. My mom was like telling me I was fat all day the next day. I felt very depressed. I felt very panicky about my relationship. My anxiety was through the roof, and all these things like came at me again. I remembered what I had found out a year ago about the thyroid. And basically, what happened is I did everything wrong last year to the extent that I'm now running cold. My thyroid is so dead that my metabolism is so slow that I'm actually running cold. So I have to fix that, obviously. Now, how did I do this? Over the winter of 2019 into 2020, I did a very strict ketogenic diet. I was eating 1 meal a day. I was probably at a very big calorie deficit. Those two things are they're really hardcore for your thyroid, okay? Having a huge calorie deficit is not the business for your thyroid, and being ketogenic for months at a time is not the business for your thyroid. And I was ketogenic from November until February, okay? I lost a lot of weight. I was under 300 pounds at that time. I looked like a lesbian at the time. I made a video called I Look Like a Lesbian, because I did. I had very long hair at the time. A lot of my friends made fun of me. They said that I looked like Velma. So that was great, as my hair was so long. If you look back into my channel, you can find the videos where my hair was so long and then I shaved it live. But basically, I did all this. And what else did I do? After I went keto, and that probably slowed my metabolism, then I went back to binging. During this time, my cats passed away. The first one passed away mid-February, and I could not handle it, so I went back to eating candy. Just started eating a lot of candy, eating a lot of carbs, and eating a lot of these things. Eating nachos, eating all this crap, right? And what did I say? Whenever I'm binging, I'm eating a lot of PUFAs. So not only did I eat this ketogenic lifestyle for 4 months, which is a very long time, that slowed down my metabolism. I did a caloric deficit. That slowed down my thyroid. That's hostile to your thyroid. I ate tons of salad during the time I was eating spinach. That's goitrogenic. That has tons of oxalate. It does a lot of stuff. It's not the best for your thyroid, right? While I was keto. Then I go back to eating bad for a couple months. Or then I go back to eating bad for like a month, and I'm eating all these PUFAs. I'm eating chips. I'm eating tons of stuff that has canola oil in it. All these different things. Like, I'm just eating like crap, right? And that slows it even more. Then I actually tried the diet that I'm currently doing right now for about 3 weeks in, I think, March to April. It's a little fuzzy. But during that time, I noticed that the dark circles under my eyes actually went away. And I was starting to feel warmer. I felt very, very cold over that winter when I was ketogenic. I was starting to feel warmer. I was starting to feel different. But I ultimately wasn't losing weight fast enough for me, and I got upset, and I said, screw this, and I went back to keto. When I went back to keto, I lost all my water weight again, and that was a thing. Then I went vegan, which veganism is very hostile towards your thyroid as well, because your thyroid needs saturated fat. So, usually in the form of animal fats. Duh. There's not many plants that have saturated fat other than coconut, which coconut is very good for your thyroid. Saturated fats are good for your thyroid. I wasn't eating these at all. I went to vegan, and all I was eating was rice, tons and tons of rice, and I stopped eating dairy, which dairy is also helpful to your thyroid because it has a lot of calcium, and there's not a lot of calcium in foods that don't have dairy, obviously. So I stopped eating dairy for like 2 months. You have to realize too, what else is happening during this time, the pandemic. I'm not going out at all. I'm working from home. I'm hardly ever going outside, hardly ever going into the sun. That's also bad for your thyroid to not go into the sunlight. I was also socially isolate, which was stressful. I was also grieving over my cats, which is also stressful. That is a trigger. I was also grieving over my dreams of moving to Australia because of the pandemic, and it was very traumatic. That was very stressful. And I'm all alone. Then you have all the chaos going on in the world at the time as well. And I am reaching a new level of stress. When I went vegan, I gained all my weight back. I blew up like a fucking balloon. And it's because I was eating lots and lots of rice, which is another thing that is not supported by the thyroid. Your thyroid prefers sugars rather than starches. So while I'm eating all this rice, my body is not processing it efficiently, and I'm gaining weight very quickly. And I put on so much weight after all that. From that point, I got really, really heavy around my birthday. I visited Alabama. I ate like such a fat hog while I was here, and I gained weight. Then I came home and I went keto again. And when I went keto that time, I plateaued around 330. I couldn't lose any more weight. My metabolism had been downgraded from everything else I had done that year. I stuck with it, but ultimately I did not lose weight, and in December I got very depressed because of the isolation, and I went back to eating like crap, and I started eating all the PUFAs again, and I gained all my weight back, and here we are in 2021. So, what did you learn? Don't do anything that I did. Because ultimately when it comes to weight loss, it's a hormones game. Ultimately, you're hungry because you're not getting the energy, you're not getting the calories. Your body is not able to digest them properly, and therefore it just turns it into fat. And that's a lot of times how people gain weight. Because if you look at like what people eat when they are gaining tons of weight, it's usually things that have a lot of canola oil, so a lot of takeout. It's usually a lot of restaurants, they use tons of canola oil. It's usually a lot of starches and, carbs in that form, like bread, pasta, crackers, that kind of thing. Those are the things that make you gain a lot of weight. A lot of those crackers, pastas, etc., especially crackers and stuff, they have a lot of soy, lecithin in it. These kind of things. Also people that drink a lot of alcohol, because that's very estrogenic. People that smoke a lot of weed, that's very estrogenic. Those things will cause you to gain weight. I don't do either one of those because I don't like either one. But thank God, I probably would have had a heart attack and died if I was smoking weed or drinking all the time on top of everything else I was doing. That was the one thing I didn't do last year. But basically, as I said in the beginning of this video, I experienced the opposite of everything. So now in 2021, I have to do the exact opposite of what I did last year. So you guys know I've moved. I am now living with my mom. I'm with family. I was able to go see my grandma in the hospital. I'm around people a lot more. My job, I go outside every day that I work. I'm bopping around town all the time. And it's, just those lifestyle changes are big. They're huge. I've shifted my diet drastically. I'm eating sugars, so things like fruit, honey, flat out sugar if I feel like it, but usually honey and fruit is what I eat. So those to me taste the best. I'm just saying, they're really good. Oh, I love honey on bananas. It's my favorite thing right now, and I eat a lot. And that's the other thing, is I don't limit calories, because when it comes to your thyroid, like, you have to just kind of eat what's natural for you. You need to just eat and not worry about it. The other thing that I focus on, obviously, is no PUFAs. So you try to never have those, or you really, 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 really limit them. So that means you're having saturated fats. I'm only eating red meat, really, at this point. I'm not eating fish, even poultry. A lot of poultry has a lot of PUFAs in it. And I'm mostly focusing on red meat, and I'm focusing on cheese and dairy, yogurt, full fat, that kind of thing. It's very good for you. I know, I feel like what I'm saying is so anti-mainstream or anti what they tell you, but that's what I believe. I think a lot of the diet advice that's out there, people don't realize that it's actually anti-thyroid. So, like, if you're eating, like, salmon and rice and salad, that sounds like a healthy meal. But salmon has PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Rice is a starch, and the salad has goitrogenic substances in it that are anti-thyroid. So if you think about that meal, it's an extremely anti-thyroid meal, but it is considered healthy. And what I believe happens with a lot of people is they eat these diets, they have no energy, they feel like crap, then they start binging out on things like McDonald's or chips, especially chips. You'll notice people that eat chips, they're usually really fat. People that eat a lot of chips are usually fat. There's a reason. Just saying. But then you just go back and forth, and your thyroid never gets a break. And over time, you get a slower and slower metabolism. You get fatter and fatter. That's happened to me. Or you try to go keto, that slows it down. You try to go vegan, that slows it down. You get fatter and fatter over time. And that's exactly been my experience. So I am saying no more. The unfortunate thing is that it's going to take years to heal my thyroid. Obviously it can get better. The longer I go, it'll get better and better, but it's hard. And there's certain herbs that you can take, that I am taking, to lower my estrogen, balance out the thyroid hormone, and up my testosterone. I'm not like taking steroids or anything, but certain herbs, they help your body utilize its natural testosterone a lot better. And so I'm taking those things on top of changing the diet, switching it from, the starches to the sugars, the unsaturated fats to the saturated fats, and I'm feeling pretty good. It's been less than a week. My insomnia is going away very quickly. I had color in my face today. You can't really tell because this light is really, really washes me out. But I did a bit more, and my mood is stabilizing. I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a lot less anxious. And we'll have to wait on the weight loss, But I think what's important to me is I don't want to have bags under my eyes. I don't want to look dead. I don't want to be dead. I don't want to be a zombie, I literally run cold. And I know that all this is kind of complicated and weird, but just hear me out. I'm going to try it. You guys can watch me. You can see what happens. And if this does work, then I'm going to tell you guys you should do it, you know. But yeah, it's been so nice to eat a diet where I can have carbs and fat. It is just great. And like I said, I genuinely feel great having dairy, honey, bananas, red meat, hamburgers, full fat stuff. And it just, to have my mood stabilize so much, to have the bloating go so far down, it's just wonderful. It really is. It kind of sucks though, because I have to go to the bathroom a lot because I'm peeing, which irritates me when I'm working. But I also do caffeine. Caffeine is pro-thyroid, and so I'll have green tea every day, and I will have, I forgot what the other thing was. Oh, salt. Duh. Salt is life, okay? You've heard Freely say carbs are life. I say salt is life. You need to be getting salt. It's very important, and it's good for your thyroid as well. So with that, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and go. We can see how this all plays out. If you guys have any questions about it, let me know. I am going to be showing a haul pretty soon of all the different herbs that I'll be taking, so you can just see what I'm doing, and we're going to see how it goes. I mean, on your guys' end, you can think of it as an experiment. So don't take it too seriously, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and do my thing. I know that I'm feeling better, so I'm going to do this for the foreseeable future. It's much more sustainable than anything else I've tried. So I will see you guys later. I hope you have a good one. Bye.